This video paints a grim picture of retail in Shanghai, where even the spaces underneath supermarkets and storefronts have shut their doors. This is Guangzhou's largest clothing wholesale market, where you can scarcely see anyone. Even those who are shopping seldom buy anything. The business is even worse than during the usual off-seasons. Around October 1st every year, China has a week-long national holiday. This week is also a peak season for consumption, hence it is referred to as the Golden Week of October 1st. In the past, the period around October 1st was the busiest time for merchants and logistics, with warehouse space even over capacity. But now, many flight routes have been suspended. There are many similar videos online, all commenting that the Chinese economy is beyond recovery, that the people have run out of money, and that various key industries nationwide are in a state of depression, with factories being directly, quote, strangled to death. Following the rapid global spread of COVID-19, which originated in Wuhan, the global economy has suffered in unprecedented ways. As countries gradually shift their focus from pandemic control to economic development, the Beijing government's unique zero-COVID policy serves as a blow to the already unstable Chinese economy, leading to a plummeting decline. The escalating downturn of the Chinese economy has now become a focal point of global concern. It serves as a warning bell for the world, with many Western entrepreneurs cautioning that China's slow recovery could potentially shock the global economy. At present, the Chinese economy is demonstrating signs of decline and deterioration, characterized by a sluggish real estate market, weak consumer spending, declining exports, massive withdrawal of foreign investments, soaring local government debts, severe youth unemployment, and the onset of economic deflation. Adding to the woes is the Beijing government's seemingly slow response, with no significant measures taken to rescue the economy. Real estate giants like Evergrande and Country Garden are grappling with a debt crisis, not only highlighting the slump in the real estate market, but also causing fluctuations in the global financial market. Evergrande, once one of China's largest real estate developers, defaulted on its debt in 2021 and has been in negotiations with creditors for nearly 2 years. On August 17, 2023, Evergrande Group sought creditor protection from a U.S. bankruptcy court in Manhattan. As the world's most indebted property developer, with an estimated debt soaring up to $300 billion, markets have been on edge about Evergrande's teetering on the brink of collapse. The impact of Evergrande's crisis has set off a chain reaction in China, with numerous instances of unfinished buildings and supply cutoffs erupting in many cities. In mid-September, Chinese real estate developer Country Garden revealed in documents submitted to the Hong Kong Stock Exchange that the company is projected to incur losses between 45 and 55 billion yuan in the first half of this year. According to Chinese media reports, the company accumulated a debt of 1.4 trillion yuan by the end of last year. Global investment giants like BlackRock and Alliance Group hold $358.5 million and $301 million respectively in Country Garden's U.S. bonds. Other companies like Vita International and HSBC Holdings also have considerable investments in these bonds and face substantial risk if Country Garden encounters difficulties. The debt defaults and significant losses incurred by these Chinese real estate titans have intensified global concerns regarding the stability of China's economy. Yale economist Stephen Roach called the sluggish growth of the Chinese economy quite alarming. The pandemic, combined with the zero-COVID policy, has led to a sharp decline in savings among the Chinese population, massive withdrawal of foreign investments, and numerous closures of domestic businesses and enterprises, ushering in a closure wave. After the youth unemployment rate reached a historic high of 21.3% in June, the Beijing authorities ceased publishing data on youth unemployment from July onward, severely denting confidence both domestically and internationally. Consequently, a decrease in consumer spending became inevitable. The data from China's National Bureau of Statistics also revealed a stagnant month-on-month consumer price index in July, experiencing a 0.3% decrease. This means that the Chinese economy has entered a state of deflation. In a report released in late August, global market research and consultancy firm Counterpoint Research projected a year-on-year decline of 6% in the global mobile phone shipments for 2023, amounting to 1.15 billion units, the lowest in a decade. Counterpoint Research senior analyst Karm Chauhan noted that the significant dip in the global smartphone sales is largely attributed to the decreased purchasing volumes in China, plummeting from an annual peak of 450 million units to 270 million units. Experts from the U.S. consultancy firm Gartner observe a notable slump in China's personal computer market. During a media interview, Lu Yuanxing, an American economist who previously served as a marketing director in a Chinese company, highlighted that China, given its population and GDP, remains one of the largest consumer markets globally, implying that any contraction in this market will inevitably resonate globally. This downturn in computer and smartphone sales is poised to substantially impact global chip manufacturers. In the tech sector, semiconductor manufacturers such as Samsung and SK Hynix have stated that after the relaxation of pandemic lockdowns, China did not witness a resurgence in the smartphone market. They predict further reductions in the production of NAND memory chips used in phones. Germany's largest chip supplier, Infineon, also faces significant risks, with a quarter of its revenue generated from China. Arm Company faces the same scenario. Thibault Morel, an analyst at investment bank Bryant, Garnier & Company, warns that corporations must brace for the worst, predicting that, quote, "The primary risk facing European companies within the next 5 years will be the shutdown of the Chinese market." This sentiment is echoed by numerous global firms, including consumer goods giant Unilever, automotive manufacturer Nissan, and American machinery behemoth Caterpillar, who have all signaled warnings about deteriorating demands in China. During a teleconference, Unilever CFO Graham Pickethley remarked, "We observe a high level of caution among Chinese consumers with a decline in the real estate market and decreased export demands. The unemployment rate in China is high, particularly among the youth. To our knowledge, consumer confidence in China is at an all-time low." Furthermore, Volkswagen has adjusted its annual sales targets downward due to declining sales in its largest market, China. Nissan CEO Makoto Uchida noted, "Unfortunately, our sales outlook in China is now considerably below our production capacity." Likewise, Caterpillar, a leading miner and heavy machinery manufacturer, has been adversely affected by the prolonged downturn in China's real estate sector, with CEO Jim Umpleby announcing a further weakening in the Chinese market, exceeding their initial forecasts. He said, "We noted in our last earnings call that we expected sales in the Chinese market to be between 5% and 10% below our corporate sales. We now foresee a further weakening in the Chinese market as the downturn in the industry for excavators weighing 10 tons and above has even surpassed our predictions." Martin Brudermüller, CEO of BASF, one of the largest foreign investors in China, remarked on the palpable dissatisfaction and dwindling confidence among the Chinese populace toward their government. He cited heavy investments in education compared with a soaring youth unemployment rate of up to 20% and substantial losses in the real estate sector, fostering a cautious approach to spending. Mike McMullen, CEO of analytical instrument producer Agilent Technologies, attributes the company's recent quarterly revenue decline mainly to poor business performance in China, consequently revising the annual growth targets downward. Prominent U.S. investment consultant and Chinese investment strategist Sun Mai-ke also contends that the worsening situation of the Chinese economy is poised to exert further drag on the global economy. He said, "The disappointing performance of the Chinese stock market, coupled with grim economic outlook, will inevitably lead to a decline in demand, encompassing both external and domestic demands." Using Europe, China's second-largest trading partner, as an illustration, Sun noted, "For a long time, China has been the largest importer of European luxury goods, including watches, jewelry, and clothing. Chinese tourists spent a substantial amount in Europe a few years ago, a purchasing fever that persisted for a decade with expenditures amounting to hundreds of billions of dollars annually. With the current economic downturn, this demand is contracting, and it's a very significant contraction." Sun further posited that given China's status as the world's second-largest economy, numerous countries are reliant on the Chinese market. He said, "A slump in the market of this magnitude, resulting in weakened demand, would make it extremely difficult for other nations to find alternative markets in a short time span. Therefore, countries with certain dependence on the Chinese market will inevitably be affected." The global tourism group Booking.com echoed the sentiment, announcing a decline in the number of Chinese tourists traveling abroad. Its CEO, Glenn Fogel, projected, "I anticipate that the Chinese economy will not recover for a considerable period, possibly an extended duration." Even President Biden has expressed concerns, labeling the economic challenges faced by the Chinese authorities as a ticking time bomb. "China is in trouble," he remarked, emphasizing the nation's highest unemployment rate. Amidst weak economic data, advisors to the People's Bank of China have issued an urgent call for an immediate boost to consumption, although experts believe that the Chinese authorities are at a loss for solutions. Cai Fang is a member of the central bank's Monetary Policy Committee who has long advocated for direct stimulation to consumers to increase spending. He posted on the social media account of one of China's leading economic think tanks, stating, "The most urgent objective at the moment is to stimulate household consumption, to channel money into the pockets of the populace through all reasonable, lawful, and compliant economic avenues." He had previously suggested a direct stimulus package of 4 trillion yuan for Chinese families as an option to revive consumer spending, a move that has not yet been adopted by the Beijing authorities. China expert Wang He believes that the Beijing government currently only has 2 policy solutions. Quote, "One is fiscal policy, leveraging local debt, but with the ongoing debt crisis and massive local debt coupled with the lack of economic benefits from special bonds, fiscal policy has no room to maneuver. The other relies on monetary policy, but the opposition between Chinese and American monetary policies restricts the effectiveness of the authorities' monetary strategies. Moreover, facing deflation, relying on money supply expansion to support economic growth has been increasingly ineffective over the years and proving to be a dead end." Wang has stressed that the authorities' attempts to signal economic rescue and support through interest rate cuts in an effort to alter public expectations are largely futile. "People aren't fools," he said. "The overall state of the Chinese economy is so dismal." In conclusion, Wang He warned, the current trajectory suggests that the edifice of the Chinese economy is tilting, with both domestic and international situations reversing and deteriorating. Consequently, no matter who is in power at this juncture, even with tremendous capability, it would be impossible to reverse the tide.